rigid and overly organized woman and a train wreck of a man accidentally get married only hours after knowing each other, following a blurry night of binge drinking. And that's why today, in Flick Summary, what happens in Vegas. The film opens with Joy, a control freak that must plan everything ahead, discussing some wedding plans with her fiancé Mason. Apparently, it's also Mason's birthday, so Joy, true to her character, is getting everything organized for her boyfriend's special day. Now let's meet Jack, a no-strings-attached, carefree sleazeball that, well, he doesn't really do much other than hang out with friends and, do the deed with random girls.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
At one point, one of the girls asks him for a key to his apartment, which completely freaks Jack out. However, she only wants it so she doesn't have to wait outside for him for too long, and tells him that he isn't exactly what she's looking for in a guy.
You're not exactly serious boyfriend marriage material.
And I pride myself on that.
We then cut back to Joy, who is involved in the stock market somehow and is constantly on the move, while Jack works at his dad's carpentry firm and doesn't really do much. Well, he doesn't do anything really. So much so that his dad fires him after seeing that he is once again wasting his time.
You're wasting your time.
After work, Joy organizes a surprise birthday party for Mason, who isn't home from work just yet. She invites all of her closest friends, and unfortunately Mason isn't really the one that is about to be surprised. You see, this guy had the audacity to break up with Joy on the night of his birthday, when she's been nothing but kind to the guy. Apparently she likes to plan too much, and he isn't that much of a fan of that. Of course, he cuts ties right in front of anyone, unaware that all their friends are getting front seats to the couple's untimely demise.
Surprise!
Oh, shitball.
Yeah, that's a little awkward, isn't it? Having met with rather terrible circumstances on the same day, the strangers head to a bar in hopes of drowning their sorrows with booze and the company of their friends.
That makes sense to me.
Seeing that nothing will really keep them afloat, as if destiny wanted them to meet each other along the way, Joy and her friend Tipper make a spur-of-the-moment decision. All the while, Jack and his friend Hader are making the exact same decision at that very second. Can you guess what it could be? Well, it's none other than Sin City itself.
Vegas?
Vegas!
Flash forward some hours later and we're in Vegas, baby. Tipper and Joy are having the time of their lives at the hotel as Jack and Hader do the exact same. After a day of drinking and eating, Joy and her friend head to their room and get ready for the night. Once again, Jack and Hader do the same thing. However, as it turns out, the four strangers get booked in the very same hotel room, scaring the daylights out of Joy and Tipper. Following this little fiasco, they decide to take it up to management, as Joy takes the reins of the confrontation, telling the poor hotel staff that she knows she can get an upgrade and demands that he gives it to her.
She's awfully hostile for a girl named Joy.
Luckily for them, they got penthouse suites and this little mishap turned into one happy accident. The friends now plan to head on their different ways, but Jack invites the two friends for drinks. Initially, Joy declines, but once Jack tells her to let herself go and not to be so uptight all the time, he hit a nerve and she agrees. As expected, they get drunk off their minds as they talk, dance, and get to know each other a little better. If it isn't obvious, things quickly escalate as Jack and Joy get it on.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
The next morning, Joy wakes up feeling hungover, completely naked, and not remembering a thing of the previous day. Once she looks at the ring on her finger, the poor girl gets instant flashbacks and remembers the crazy night she had. If it isn't too obvious, Jack and Joy got married, and they don't really remember any of it.
Another day, another migraine.
Her new husband has gone out for breakfast and left Joy a note to meet him downstairs for breakfast. Joy hurries getting ready and prepares herself to ask Jack for a divorce, or an annulment, hopefully. They meet at the breakfast buffet and lightheartedly discuss the terrible mistake the night before and agree to get separated as soon as possible. Though everything started as a harmless bicker, for some reason things between the two quickly escalate and they end up in a fight. Joy uses a quarter on a casino machine and leaves Jack alone as he pulls the lever to play the game. And well, you wouldn't believe what happens next. In a shocking turn of events, the unlikely couple have won the jackpot and are given a $3 million check. As you may have guessed, there's a little bit of a conflict of interests given that it was Joy's quarter, but Jack pulled the lever. Jack tells her he's not letting keep a single cent, but Joy has a little card under the sleeve.
What's mine is yours, baby. We're married now.
Oh man. In hopes of getting this divorce done with the least amount of bloodshed possible and figuring out who gets to keep the $3 million, Jack and Joy brace themselves for an intense court battle.
I will crush you!
As you may have guessed, the movie is not even close to being finished, so obviously, this will not be an easy divorce. You see, the judge that took their case in is a man of family, a man who strongly believes in marriage, and seeing that these two got hitched over a drunken night, he decides to put them to a test. They have to try to live together for 6 months, attend marriage therapy, and if they abide by his rules, they have to divide $3 million in equal parts. Otherwise, he will make the entire process so expensive that they will not see a single cent of their jackpot.
Oh yeah, one more thing. I now pronounce you man and wife.
What an angry man, huh? Without a choice, Joy moves into Jack's apartment and is instantly horrified over the absolute mess he is. She asks him to clean, but he doesn't move a single inch and doesn't particularly care about what he has to say about his apartment. Seeing as they couldn't try to make this easy on another, they make their lives a living hell and actively go the extra mile to try and find loopholes so one of them can keep the full $3 million. How kind. The pair then goes to their very first marriage therapy session and pretends that everything's good between the two of them and how very much in love they are with each other.
Her candles smell awesome!
Seeing as she has to report back to the judge, they make an effort to make it believable, but the therapist can see right through their lies. She tells them to either actually try and hash things out, or she will report them to the judge.
You want me to be honest?
Of course.
You're right.
There's really no winning for this couple. Back home, Joy and Tipper decide to entice Jack into cheating, hoping to get a divorce arrangement that benefits Joy greatly.
This whole family is a nest of vipers.
However, when 3 attractive girls show up out of nowhere at his apartment, Jack, although very much tempted, sees right through her trap and decides to play dirty too, and invites a bunch of stockbrokers, apparently. Oh, and strippers too.
I'm here about a noise complaint.
Someone called to complain that you're not making enough noise.
Neither of their plans go as hoped, and at least for the remainder of the night, they decide to just let it be, as they will always have another day to make each other slip up.
Don't do that.
The next day, they get back to trying to screw each other over, but once they arrive at their counseling session, they vent out all the fighting and arguing that they have done.
All right, you're arguing. Now, that felt like a real married couple.
Sometime later, Joy does something just a tiny bit low and decides to invite Jack's parents over for dinner, who are absolutely marveled over the girl that their son married, accidentally or not. Jack asks Joy for a word and asks her not to tell their parents about the little shindig that's going on between them, as it would crush them once they find out their marriage is actually a farce.
Secret, Greg? But not top secret.
Jack's parents then invite Joy to one of their cousin's birthday, which she gladly agrees to attend. The family eventually leaves, as Jack thanks Joy for keeping with appearances with them. Having said that, Jack is absolutely furious that Joy went as low as bringing in family among their squabble, so he decides to go as low as she did, if not even lower.
I am the danger.
Jack finds Joy's previous engagement ring, not the Vegas one, but the one that her ex Mason gave her, and decides to seek out her ex-fiancé and return the ring. Once he finds him, he returns the wedding band and tells him just how well Joy is doing, and how carefree and different she's being ever since the two broke up. Of course, seeing as Mason was tired of the rigid, stuck-up girl, he rethinks his decision of ending the engagement altogether.
Too bad.
Flash forward to Jack's cousin's birthday, and surprisingly, the couple that apparently can't stand being with one another are actually having quite a good time and even flirt with each other.
Oh, behave.
Whoa, get a room. Why don't you? Jack heads on over to play with his younger cousins as Joy walks along the park. Much to her surprise, she runs into Mason, who basically ambushes her, but they don't get to talk too much, quickly returning to the birthday party she was there for. Phew, dodged a bullet. A few days after the party is over, Jack and Joy have finally learned how to live with each other and are now being decent human beings with each other. At work, Joy gets invited to a weekend retreat and is ordered to bring her husband to see if she's worthy of getting a promotion or not. Not sure how the husband fits in the equation as to why she deserves it or not, but whatever.
I don't get it.
Once she gets home from work, Joy shyly asks Jack if he would be willing to join her in the retreat, which he does. There, they enjoy all sorts of luxuries and have the time of their lives. And hey, wouldn't you know it? Joy's boss is absolutely enchanted with Jack, and once again, our not so happily married couple flirt with each other.
I guess I was wrong. You do clean up pretty well.
In fact, this time around, they actually do end up kissing. The retreat finally ends, and it's expected that Joy will receive the promotion. As they return home, they're both turning into the best version of themselves. Jack is back to building things, while Joy is growing professionally. However, this doesn't last too long, given that Joy runs into Mason once again. Her ex-fiancé asks her to get back together and gives her the ring, and she finally realizes that Jack went way too low, ruining whatever chance of actually fixing the marriage.
I don't think I can stomach any more of this garbage.
Flash forward to the court date where the $3 million are to be equally divided, and Jack seems to be rather cheerful and puppy-eyed about Joy, but of course, she's not returning the favor this time around. During the trial, they bring in the counselor that worked with and confessed that they are absolute train wrecks of people, but surprisingly, they managed to fit well together.
But together, in my honest opinion, they're perfect for each other.
Had this happened at a different point, and Joy might have agreed, but alas, it didn't, and in fact, she has decided that she wants absolutely nothing to do with Jack or the money at this point.
Client has advised me that she doesn't want any of the money. She just wants a divorce.
Whoa, cold. They finally get divorced and go on their separate ways, as Jack is granted the full $3 million.
I don't feel anything.
Sometime later, Joy returns to work and receives the promotion, which doesn't bring her the happiness that would have given her only days earlier. Once again, she makes a spur-of-the-moment decision and tells her boss that she doesn't want it anymore. In fact, she doesn't even want the job, spontaneously quitting out of the blue.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Heartbroken over losing Joy, Jack sets out to find her, asking her friend Tipper if she knew where she was. Tipper has no clue, but Jack decides to shoot his shot and find her no matter how long it took. Unsurprisingly, Jack finds her and apologizes for being a douche to her, as he tells Joy how much he has improved ever since he's been with her.
You bet on me, and you made me want to bet on myself.
As if that wasn't enough, Jack actually gets down on one knee and proposes to the girl of his dreams, who of course agrees to marry him.
I do want to be married to you again.
How sweet. And that's all for today. What happens in Vegas? Well, you know how the saying goes. Now let me know in the comments what you thought of this movie and which one should I do next. As always, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends. See you next time.